Joining us now is Carmel Tanaka, Community Engagement Director from the Vancouver-based group Eliminate Hate. Carmel, thanks for doing this with us tonight. I do want to ask you, first of all, were you at all surprised by what came back from people in the surveys we heard about today?
No, not at all. Anti-Asian racism has always been here, and we know that there has been a rise in anti-Asian racism since the pandemic. So not at all. I mean, I myself am an Asian woman living in BC. I know what it's like to be living as an Asian woman in BC, and so unfortunately not. And I'm also not surprised that the majority of the incidents are against Asian women, as well as our elder population.
So what are members of your organization, your community, feeling about things right now?
We have a lot of feelings, frustration, anger, sadness, exhaustion. These are all words that come to mind right now. It's very brutal to have a sudden and overwhelming interest in Eliminate Hate's work, especially by the media, and that it took the murder of Asian women for our voices to be heard, despite the fact that we have been saying that there's a rise in anti-Asian racism since last year. I mean, where was this outpour of interest in the media from on Eliminate Hate and what we've been doing in partnership with the Vancouver Asian Film Festival and our reporting center with Project 1907 and our partner organizations back east? I mean, we published findings and statistics back in September 2020, and it clearly showed even back then that there was a spike in anti-Asian racism events and hate crimes and incidents that included assault and verbal harassment, primarily against women. And sadly, this number has now increased collectively to over 1,000 anti-Asian incidents within Canada, by which, by the way, this is more than incidents per capita than the USA. So did we think that these numbers would plateau or that the severity of the assaults wouldn't escalate? I mean, the red flags were there, and we screamed into a void.
All right, well, renewed calls today for government action in some form. What specifically can government do?
The Canadian government can start by recognizing and naming anti-Asian racism in its federal anti-racism strategy. We need less performative and more grassroots funding. There's a big need to fund this work, the work like groups like Eliminate Hate and Project 1907 are doing, and we're doing as volunteers. We are modern-day cultural railway workers taking care of our community ourselves, and we need to be invited. All these groups that are doing this important work need to be invited to the table to combat racism together, take action towards criminalizing hate speech and racialized violence, making sure that the government makeup is proportional to the population's demographics, so that there are people with similar lived experiences who can develop policies that help equity-seeking communities like ours thrive. Representation matters. We need to push for a curriculum to include the history of anti-Asian racism alongside our anti-Indigenous and anti-Black racism.
All right, Carmel, we'll leave it at that. We thank you and the work that your organization does. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.